Happy birthday to you, little sister. Hi, Emily. Hi, Margaret. Emily. Hi, Emily, I just wanted to use the last 3 minutes of your birthday to say once again, at least I showed up, right? I know I'm late. Clearly I'm late. There's only 3 minutes left in your birthday. And, well, having not seen you today, I'm not just late, but I'm absent. I failed to connect with you on your birthday. Maybe for the first time ever. I'm not really sure. But I guess 50-something years into this whole thing, it kind of gets redundant on these June back-to-backers. Considering we've got Father's Day in the same month, and fuck now with the surgery. I mean, might as well just call June 27th the day of Copelandia, and that'll be the day that we celebrate it all, right? Or at least that's kind of what I had in mind, since all I can do is now lay down another probably 90 seconds of, I hope today went well for you, Em. And I'm going to speak a lot in the opening sequence here about how much in my life I think of you as the person to whom I served up the most, both direct and collateral damage. And I've never really been able to quantify enough coherence in those moments of what I'm sure from your point of view, and frankly, in some cases, very much from my point of view, look like insanity, or even worse, malevolent, manipulative psychosis, or something of a more cunning kind. Well, may all the negative accolades of shade and dismissal that you have earned toward me never dissolve completely, because I was given ample opportunity to be a better brother for you, and in many regards knew that I could have done more and continued to fail to live up to expectations. And for that, I feel like the most miserable big brother you could have asked for. But I'm going to make it up to you. Probably in the next life. Let's face it, there's a whole lot of shit to make up. But with what we got left here, I promise I love you, Em, and happy birthday. You mean a lot to me. In fact, in many ways, you mean the world to me. So don't think I can't remind you how much we used to love each other as kids, because basically I'm back to my 10-year-old self. So, if you got the Legos, let's get them out. Actually, not the Legos. That was a jumbled pile of fucking chaos. Let's go play, what was that card game? The one with the like ping pong table layout sheet we had? It was like Rummy meets Poker meets Chinese checkers or something. Okay, let's just play Hungry Hungry Hippo. We always liked that one. Pause for some chop suey from yesterday. It's not chop suey, but, I'm jumbling the timeline because I owe my sister the intro on the 20th, don't I? I mean, fuck it, I can get her a present. Pause. Hello, all you jitterbugs in the universe, alongside this June bug. How you been? How you been, jitterbugs? How you been? Well, it's June 19th, which means tomorrow my sister turns 53. 53? What? Yep. So that's a lot of pressure. But, she's gonna get that done. She's gonna turn 53. And then, now 9 days away, I'm gonna turn a ripe old 55. And the way things are looking, that 500th episode on my 55th birthday seems like it's gonna happen. Because this one, number 493, wait, is this 493? This is 494? Jiminy. So that means there's only 5 left before the ultimate 500th episode. 500 fucking episodes. That's insane. Just like me. Pause. Pause. So, I don't know how many of these you've listened to. Probably less than one. That's good for you, because there's definitely something better you could be doing in your life right now than listening to this. And if you're going to listen to this, I'm going to just have to tell you, you got to speed me up. You got to get me to at least 1.75 or 2.0 in your speed back player mechanism there, because anything less than that is just time you're wasting. I don't have enough clarity of thought or persuasive argument to digest for you not to be able to take in the speed of conversation at double time. So if this turns out to be a 38-minute recording and you listen to all 38 minutes in real time, well, you'll have wasted 19 minutes of life you could have gotten back by going to double time. See how this works? Totally in your favor. Exactly. Good answer. Pause. Pause. So now that I know I'm standing in front of a smart class, good answer. Well, what I want to know is if we're all smarter than we used to be, and I know there's a lot of science that say the latest generation's the dumbest generation yet, but let's just hope and pray that that's wrong. That instead of the arc of intelligence still skyrocketing upward, that it hasn't plateaued and started descending with this generation, even though all indicators point to that fact. That we're in fact losing IQ points generation to generation for the first time ever. Or if you want to put it another way, people sure are watching too much Kardashians these days, right? Pause. Pause. Okay, I'm not even insinuating that there's a lack of intelligence in the human condition. There isn't. There is a direction of focus and attention that has given the latest generation of, say, thinking young adults more information on the Kardashians than they have on, say, Faust or the Canterbury Tales. And this is intentional, I get. But if the IQ test were about the Kardashians, well, we'd have fucking geniuses all over this fucking country. I know that much. Having taken the IQ test and knowing that the Kardashians were not on there, I'm going to say there is some bias to the test. I recognize that. There is bias in everything. But there is also an inherent critical thinking skill that is diminishing. And in many ways, we do have the Kardashians to blame for that. Pause. And of course, the Disney Channel, the Disney Corporation, the Disney failure of creativity that is Star Wars and everything else Disney touches and just ruins. Right, Disney? Right. Exactly. No, pause. But I did not get on to talk about this shit. Nope. No, I got on to talk about, well, I guess me. Yeah, me's a good subject today. The truth is, the reason I'm doing this is because, A, I think we're all too hard on ourselves and that we don't love ourselves enough, and I can keep giving you evidence about your own specific life that proves this true if you're an American and living in the 21st century. And that generality, that realization that I can actually do that, that is actually true, this is the level that we're at, well, that was shocking enough to send me into this communication energy conduit known as podcasting to find the saviors of the universe I know are here with me who have yet to engage their full capacity as savior of said universe. You could be one of these people. You could be one of these dogs. You could be one of these Anunnaki giant feathered serpents from the past. But whatever you are, you're manifesting here now because this universe needs you. We're at a crisis point. And those of us who can see it, well, the prime directive at this juncture is to gather the rest of us who are still dormant. So I speak to those with the idea they came here to make a better world and have done nothing but bloody their head against brick walls as surface after surface gets in their way. I get you. That isn't what we're facing now, though. What we're facing now has nothing to do with incompetence and has nothing to do with the systemic overtures of the past coming back to haunt us in the future. No, everything that we are facing now is about the moment that is here now and the one that's about to happen next. So whatever guilt, shame, baggage of non-consequence you're dragging with you to this moment, release it. Because your time to engage is today and into the future. The past has nothing to do with where we're going next. Pause. Pause. I also do this because I like this. And because I do get rewarding connections from this outlay of confessional reality as 8675309 Earth planted it upon me. And the camaraderie, the kinship, the cross-national connection that this dialogue fosters, well, that has meaning. That has meaning across time and space. And I understand that this isn't everyone's cup of tea. As a matter of fact, I understand this is very few, if but a minuscule percentage of a tiny little blip of humanity can even come together to enjoy. But for those who do, well, the connection is undeniable. I mean, fuck, man, it's fucking great. The real me, meeting you and the real you. That's about all I'm here to do. So, with that in mind, are we through? No, we got more to do. Pause. Pause. So then people say, well, why are you so fucking happy, man? Why are you so buoyant? Life's not this simple. You're just living a dumbly simple life and thus don't count. And I say, okay, wait a second, buddy. My life isn't dumbly simple. It's smartly simple. And therefore I do count, because we all count. And, well, when you think about last year when I had my heart broken, then I had my dog die, then I had my cat die, then I had my heart broken by somebody else. At some point, last 12, 13 months, 17 months have been a karmic reset of the most soul-reflecting kind. But to not be buoyant because of the variables here to teach me a deeper meaning in life and the resolute response of myself growing in that process isn't its own reward. I feel like there's so much to celebrate about life. Even the hardest days, you're still here living. Do you know what living is? It's the great gift. How can you not be buoyant? Pause. Pause. And even those of my associates, my entourage who say, dude, you do nothing with your life. You just sit around and think and speak into a phone, and then occasionally, when you run out of money, go to work. That's about the least fulfilling life I can imagine. To which I say, I get it. You're doing your thing, right? You got to have 19 balls in the air being juggled all at once. You got to have the entire color palette of life simultaneously on your easel being painted in a way that distorts or recreates a reality in the way that you see rewarding and fit. Okay. All the better. I'm glad to hear it. My life, rewarding and fulfilled in its predestined capacity, wasn't that complex. Turns out it was dead simple. Be kind, be understanding, be forgiving, and listen. And what do you know? I have a fulfilling life. And did you notice I didn't even have to mention money or power in that situation? Fuck no, I didn't. And to be fair, I didn't mention family, which I think is the fifth finger on the hand of humanity. Because the family that I do have, I've been fortunate enough to carry through all the way to this point. And that is my mother and father at 84 and soon to be 82 are still robust, healthy souls doing what they can to invigorate this world with the spirit of goodness. So, in that regard, there's a fifth element of my own predestined glory and realization of fulfillment, and that is healthy family. So, if that's all it takes, well then everything else to me feels like either cluttered nonsense that I'm entertaining for my own curiosity, or something I need to get out of the way because it's not part of my destiny and fulfillment. So yeah, I keep it simple. And by doing so, I feel like the only happy person in all of America. Sorry, but that's how it looks from my perspective. Pause. Unpause. Okay, listen, I don't mean to be coming down on you. You know I love you. This isn't a me is better than you situation. This is just me is different. What me gets out of life versus what you gets out of life should be different. We aren't overlapping Venn diagrams of complete and total coordinated energy, nor do we want to be. But we do want to be people who matter to each other, even in passing. So I'm going to lay off this recording. It's now 3:52 here on the 19th of June, and I have to go to work at 5:15, which means I only now have 83 minutes of freedom. And those 83 minutes of freedom, well, let's say I got to walk to work. So I have 81 minutes of freedom. Those 81 minutes of freedom, I'm going to get some stuff done around the house. I'm going to think about how much the next 5-hour work shift in my life is going to fulfill me. And then I'm going to come back here, turn this little device back on, and tell you how right or wrong I was about all that shit. Sound good? Well, great. Then I'll see you shortly. Pause. Pause. June 21st is another time. 12:04. If you give a shit, what you shouldn't. So, how you been, universe? And by universe, I mean everything, right? Everything, like the whole shebang. All of this. Everything that we're doing. All this goofy human meat sack suit wearing experience we signed up for. Fucking A, why'd we sign up for this? Why'd we sign up for this? Well, that's the question that's really been tugging at my attention span lately, and I've been thinking, well, you ought to be able to figure that part of the game out, right? Okay, here's a couple theories. Number one, how do you know that this is a universe in which free will exists? Simple. There are beings, entities, and energies trying to manipulate us towards certain decisions, certain collective identities and thoughts, certain attitudes, certain beliefs. So if it's not that our free will is there to be manipulated, how the fuck would they be putting that energy toward that outcome? So of course we have free will. However, inside of the spectrum of existence in which this terrarium sits, our free will is tested against a preset dynamic of elastic pulling directives. Let me explain what I mean by that, because that was horse poopy, pooky, looky, horseshit, right? And what I mean by that is you put yourself into this situation to be tested in specific ways, and in some ways to receive comeuppance for whatever karmic unsightliness you may have exhibited in other versions of yourself and other variations of life. So you could be here on a journey of self-discovery that's both one of I get why that was even an issue now. Yeah, you're right. I didn't see it from that point of view. Now that I do, I shouldn't have done what I did, so I will be better. Thank you for letting me learn how to be better over here on fucking Earth, where everything fucking sucks right now. So how can I learn to be better? Okay. Your framing of the circumstance is everything to do with what you can get out of the experience you're having. What do you want to go into the universe to learn? What is it you most need to improve to be a better version of you? Is it to be patient? Is it to be less isolated? Is it to be more adventurous? Is it to recapture your musical youth? Is it to get the band Musical Youth back together for a reunion tour? What are you here to do? What do you know that if you were standing at the customer service counter of shit you can feel better about yourself, and there's a menu up there, well, what's the first thing you hope's on the list? And if that is something you can come to understand in yourself, if that little bit of self-improvement if you're not worth it, why not? Seriously, Why not? And if you can identify these little chunks of what you could really still find fulfilling in this life, and then you actually start fulfilling these little chunks into a more momentous, forward-driven, fulfilling, destiny-oriented life, it's amazing how many of those you can pick up while the train's moving instead of the offshore accounts and cabana boys like the people in the House of Congress do here in America. Yep, that's what we were talking about a couple episodes ago. What? Who the fuck knows? Pause. Pause. Oh, wait. I know why. Because all those motherfuckers have offshore goddamn bank accounts and places where they pay for their cabana boys. That's why. Pause. Pause. All right. I apologize. I have an apology to make here, obviously, to Congress. I'm sorry, members of Congress. You are clearly clever enough to not let your offshore bank account schemes get muddied with your stream of line cabana boy schemes. No. I understand you wouldn't pay out one for the other, and so I'm sorry that I ever insinuated that you would make that mistake. You're smarter than that. So, my bad. Pause. Unflattering on pause. This will be unflattering because when I tell you that Emily, my sister, is the person in whom this world I have sprayed the most unwanted collateral fire, well, I don't lie. And I figure at some point during each pause break of this episode, say the 10-minute marks, I'll tell you one of the things that you're like, you did what? And when you think, wow, there's like 4 to 6 of those coming? Yeah, there are. And we'll start with, I stole somewhere between $2,400 and $2,600 from my sister in change. Yep, sure did. Pause. Pause. And when you think about the things in your life that you really know you haven't done yet, and for me, it's not just things like, well, I haven't seen the pyramids. Okay. I haven't seen Angkor Wat, and I haven't seen Machu Picchu. What kind of life will I have lived if the 3 most, and frankly, I could put another subset of 15 places on Earth that fascinate me, are places I just never actually got up the gumption to go see? I'll tell you, when I float above this body sack and look down and go, well, what the fuck were you thinking, bro? Those will be some of the first thoughts that'll come to mind. Yeah, what was I thinking? I guess I was thinking I had to watch more college football on Saturday. Right? Pause. Pause. Let's, I'm not going to do it every time, but let's do it this time too. I got to throw another gratuitous, you did fucking what? About my relationship with my sister. At one point in the transition of girl to woman, I think every woman decides, well, what do I look like with short hair after their long hair that they've had since they were in 4th grade is now no longer the hair they want. And when my sister came home with this daring new hairstyle, well, as her big brother, I decided that I would just call her Fred because she looked so much like a boy. I did that to her for at least a week, if not a month, and I'm sure she has a much, much better handle on how long that persisted. But a week's too long, fucking twice is too long. In fact, the fact that I didn't get severely punished for that, and I did get punished, but I didn't get severely punished like I should have, speaks to, well, again, I told you I've had the cushiest life of all. And I've done nothing with it. So, that's why I sit 339 million American on the list of 339 million Americans, right? Pause. Here's the other thing. When you start to see yourself as meeting your potential, as grasping that which maybe has been elusive for you previously, or just a hurdle you get over that you think, okay, I did that with momentum, not with, that's all I've got. These winds of power, and it's personal power, and power is a terrible word here, but momentum is a cliche here. I do not have this word. And it's a complex concept. But you feel almost an emergence from within of a more vigorous sense of yourself. And once you realize you have untapped potential, you wonder, how much do I actually have? Anyhow, one thing I have not mentioned is just how much fun and camaraderie I have been able to maintain in the 4-hour-ish window of meeting neighbor conversation opportunities I've been taking lately. And yeah, a few have been 4 days or even 4 weeks, but 4 months in some cases. But that's it. That's the extent. And in that window of time, with those sort of parameters applied, I have had some dynamic interactions, both male and female, and both group and one-on-one, and have really been energized by the amount of activity, of uplifting activity that people are experiencing in the neighborhood. It's as if if you look for the upswell of things on the rise and can just get into that group of people experiencing that, well, shit, you can ride that whole momentum train. Well, you and your ability to maintain those levels of energies are so much more likely with a support system and group that are in similar transitional phases. And it just feels like that's what is everywhere I go looking right now. Just potential is around me, and it's as if it's starting to see itself and those around it that are here to some sort of realization point. I don't know how to describe it, but man, do I love my neighbors, as I have put recently. But we're not going to end it there. Trust me, we got more to talk about. Pause. Okay, I may have misspoken. It's now 12:28. I've actually got quite a bit of stuff still to do in the house. Plus, I want to work out. Plus, I got to be... I know! I got a job! I got to be at work tomorrow at 3. So, given that I'm probably going to be up till 3, if not 6, we'll go to bed by 3. Okay. Be up at 7:30, maybe 8, maybe 9, maybe 10, but up by 10. And then, okay, that can work. Well, I really should sign this off. In other words, I can't always be as irresponsible with my working conditions because I kind of like what I'm doing right now. It is so much better than where I've been recently that I have nothing to say except, thank you, Lord. Lord, seriously, are you looking? Oh yeah, I see it. Thanks. As the final, I almost forgot to talk about my sister, but I'm glad I remembered so that I wouldn't forget this part of this recording. Well, here are 3 more things that I believe I have certainly face-to-face discussed with my sister, but have I apologized for them all? I do not even know. Number 3 on the list, and we'll do this in order of importance, but in my suicidal gesture, I made my sister the savior of situation, potential, and forced her hand. And I have never felt worse about anything in my life ever. So that one I can't even apologize for because, well, there's no going back on serious situations of that nature. You just have to be better. So that would be 3. Imagine 2 and 1. Number 2, and you may see this as number 1, Emily. I certainly would understand that. But number 2 is, well, I essentially forced you out of the Connecticut school to the Colorado school, and you had no choice there either. It's the no choice part that really fucking makes me feel bad. But that point has always sat unwell with me for the way it may have misshapen your life or your expectations therein, and justly would hold that against me, as would I. But number 1 to me, and you may disagree, but I think the strain that my relationship with mom and dad forced on the family caused enough strife that the fallout you suffered was, again, uncalled for, unjust, but deal with it. There's nothing else you could do. So, All of those things that put you in positions where really the only outcome that was truly available to you was, well, fucking deal with it. It's that part of life that I feel the worst about. So if ever I'm going to apologize for you and the way that my behaviors, not just directly, but indirectly affected your life, well, those are the big ones. And of course, I mean, we could go through it all, but what do you want this to be, 9 hours? And if you do, I'm up for it. You certainly deserve that. I love you, Em. Happy birthday.